Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bow and Arrow Tarot. This is going to be strictly a toxic love reading. So we are going to get into some heavy stuff here. We're going to be using some shadow decks. Now we have our three signs here. Let's see what they are. We have Scorpio, okay, Libra, and Taurus. Okay, then. So Scorpio, Libra, and Taurus. We're going to start with Scorpio. That was the first one. There we go. For you, coming out, 10 of Swords, Page of Swords, 10 of Wands. Wow. And the 4 of Pentacles. Your person coming in with Ace of Swords, Knight of Swords. Let's move these up a little bit. The Empress and the 8 of Wands. All right, so at the bottom of the deck, you have a 2 of Swords energy. Okay, so this is Moon and Libra energy, right? Difficult decisions. Let's leave these over here so we can see them. Difficult decision to make, right? There's a choice that you have to make somewhere along the line, and it's like you're having a lot of difficulty making that choice. We're going to come back to that card. And of course, we're going to pull more clarifiers. If you're not used to my readings, I pull a lot of cards. All right, guys. So just like with my love reading, we're going to look at your energy and your person's energy. But here we're looking much more on the darker side. For you, 10 of Swords. Wow. You feel this week coming in, Scorpio. You're feeling really constrained. Really constrained. I don't think, your thoughts right now with regard to this particular connection or this particular individual they're overwhelming. And I think you've really got yourself tied up in knots, right? I mean, it's a feeling, it's very much, listen, 10 of Swords is very much like you're in this box and you're just hurt, but you've put yourself in this box, right? You've put yourself in it. And it's a feeling of just being overwhelmed with a series of really bad decisions. You know what I mean? It's like decisions that maybe at the time you thought were good decisions, but now you're realizing they were not good decisions. And they've really impacted you to the point where you're in a really kind of, I want to say, difficult situation. And the only way through that is to let go. Your person is coming in this week with the Ace of Swords. So they're completely on the opposite end of the spectrum. They have full clarity. And I think that they're really, they're really experiencing a whole new mental state. You two seem to be very much completely on the other extreme ends of a particular emotion or like experience right now, right? Your person is experiencing a lot of clarity. You, on the other hand, are experiencing the least amount of clarity. And it really requires you to let go. 2 of Swords just flipped over in the deck. So there's that. That decision is still there for you. That's very, very difficult. Let's go a little bit further and get some more clarifiers. 10 of Wands over the 10 of Swords. And there's your 10 of Wands there. So you're at a stage here where it's almost become kind of unbearable. This whole scenario that you've gotten yourself into with this person is almost unbearable. And yet they keep coming with clarity. For you two to be at so opposite ends of the spectrum, it's as if they seem to be, I don't think that you two are together. Okay, I think that this is a connection that you have with somebody where that person has found their clarity. I mean, they have an Ace of Swords and a Queen of Swords. Swords all about the mental. They have like a lot of clarity. They're very sharp right now. They're thinking well right now. They're making excellent decisions for themselves, right? They're very honest. They found a new sense of honesty with that Queen of Swords, and they're really willing to back that up. And you, however, you're kind of struggling here, right? You're coming to the end of a struggle here where I'm going to say, the only way out of this is to really let go. This feels like a relationship that's over, and for some reason you just have been unwilling to let go of it. And in the process, right, That Two of Swords, that's the choice of letting go or not. And it's like you're not able to make that decision. You continue to sort of torture yourself. And it's just gonna, at some point you're gonna have to crash, right? You're at the end of your rope here in terms of being able to continue to carry whatever burdens you're carrying about this relationship, about this connection with this person who I feel is totally in a different mindset than you. Okay, Page of Swords comes in, Six of Cups. Yeah, you see this other person and you think they're your lover. You think they're your soulmate. And they do not believe the same thing about you. You see Six of Cups, they see the devil. So listen, Scorpio, this is a toxic relationship because you're hooked on somebody who's not hooked on you. All right? You have this image in your mind of what this connection with this person is, and they, on the other hand, see nothing. They see devil energy, and I want to say the dark side of devil energy, for sure. You know? You know how clear they are. You know, when you see them, you see somebody who is, you know, you can see them being quite confident. You see their confidence, and you see that they know what they're doing. And I think that this is perplexing you even more, right? Because I believe what they're doing is firmly pulling away from you. And somewhere along the line, you haven't made the connection that even though you think they're your soulmate, they don't think you're their soulmate. Unfortunately, like if you were to try to think from their point of view, you would understand that they no longer desire this connection. They see devil energy when they see you. You know, they see somebody, who is, making decisions that are dark decisions. You know, you're carrying things, you're carrying ideas, you're carrying burdens about this connection that are just, they are just in your mind. They are hang-ups to do with you, and it's time to let it go. It's time to it's time to understand that all of this that you've been putting yourself through, you have been putting yourself through it, and that what you have been thinking was reality was not. Told you this would get tough. You know, when you see this, when you see this relationship or your part in this relationship, you see yourself as some kind of caretaker, right? I feel like you think you need to take care of this person. They're your responsibility. You want it, it's all about what you think they mean to you. And at the end of the day, what you're going to have to understand here, Scorpio, is that this person is not interested in that. They are not that for you. You can't make somebody something for you. They have to make themselves something for you. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can't take somebody. Somebody has to give themselves to you. And here it seems as though you're just unwilling to let go. And especially with this energy that they're seeing you with here, this devil and Knight of Swords energy, like you are continue to make decisions and take actions that are like, that are toxic, that are very toxic. And you're only hurting yourself ultimately. They're toxic to this person, but this person is going to move on. How they see themselves in the relationship, they're like working to get themselves. I feel like, listen, when you did have a relationship with this person, it felt like a lot of work for them. It felt like they had to do a lot for you and take care of you a lot. Empress energy, it was like really a lot for them. Okay, they felt like they really had to put so much energy and effort into it, dealing with whatever was going on. You may have had some issues that, ultimately you leaned on them for support, but they felt like they were pouring everything into you. And I think that ultimately they've come to a decision. They've come to a decision to be free from this, and you have not. Okay? You have some issues now with money coming up as a result. So these are some future energies here. And as a result of everything that's gone on here with this connection, and I want to say as a result of you being unwilling to let go of this person, you have financial issues now. I don't know what you've done. You've made some decisions here, Scorpio, that have impacted you financially and stretched you thin as a result of your like pursuits after this person who is not there for it, by the way. So they were like futile pursuits. They didn't give you what you wanted, and on top of it, now you got money issues. Page of Cups. Page of Cups indicating, you know, that you may still be thinking that there's a chance here. There's no chance here. Eight of Wands. Your person is going to be feeling very confused by this because I think that they feel as though they've put this to bed. Yeah, and more information comes into them, right? So, listen, if you're reaching, you know what? This is really this is toxic energy, and I'm going to keep it real with you, Scorpio. Now, this could be vice versa. You might be in the other situation, but this is stalker energy to me. Continuing to pursue somebody that is not interested and, you know, confusing them. They feel like it's a lot of work to get away from you. They had to do a lot to get away from you. They had to put a lot in to get away from you. And I think that at some point they may have felt like it was all done and dusted. And here you pop up again with that Page of Cups and you're trying to get, you know, trying again. And this is very chaotic and confusing for them, right? In addition, for some of you, they're like, oh, okay, I got some more information here. For some of you, like I said, this is stalker energy. They may be, you know, they may be taking some of this information that you bring to them and dealing with it in a certain way. Let's pull out some energies here. The Spider, the Specimen. You know, just plotting away, you know, plotting away the Spider. Take it as it comes. These are unusual oracle cards. They're very personal. It's number 16 and 41. Number 16 is Specimen. 41 was the Spider, the Specimen. You know, it almost feels as though this is how you treat this person, as a specimen. It's like they don't want this, and yet you continue. And it's really, and you're messing up your own life by doing it. You know, you're messing up your life. You're causing yourself financial strain here, and it's not necessary. I don't know why. You know what I mean? It's like, you know that, right? I think you just allowed your emotions to get away with you, or away from you, rather, right? And yet I feel here, again, you're going to try to come into this person, and they just don't want it. Very confusing for them to figure, you know, for them it seems it's very confusing. It's shocking. It's a little bit shocking, I think, for them as well, because as I say, they're busy working on their life. They've put a lot of effort into sort of getting away from you here, and it's like you're not listening. One-sided, emptiness, unavailable. Okay, here we go. One-sided. This is very one-sided here. You're pushing, and this person is not interested. You know, this is not a two-sided affair. Emptiness, and it's just causing you so many problems. Emptiness. You know, this could be a reason why you continue to pursue this person, even though nothing is there, because maybe there may be some work, some shadow work that you need to do, Scorpio. Unavailable. Okay? Unavailable. This person is unavailable to you. No matter what you do, they will remain so. Okay? And so this is a toxic relationship, a toxic connection, Scorpio, because you're refusing to let go. You really, really need to, for your own sake, because your money situation is going to get worse. And for those of you, listen, watch out. This person is waiting. Any more information coming their way, you know, they're going, listen, we don't have that energy here because I'm not reading that far in the future, but they're definitely watching. And if this continues, I think there will be, like, you know, they're going to let you know, or they're going to stop you. But yes, this is a very one-sided connection here that you need to let go of, Scorpio. All right, we are going to come right back with Libra. All right, so now we're going to get right into the Libra reading. The Libra toxic love. For you, Libra, Page of Pentacles, Knight of Cups, Five of Pentacles, and the Four of Pentacles. Issues to do with money. All right, your person in this toxic connection is coming in with Ten of Pentacles, Queen of Cups, the Fool, And the Eight of Swords, toxic energy there as well. At the bottom of the deck, Five of Swords. So, na energy, right? Like, very sort of tit for tat, back and forth energy here. At the bottom of the deck, you know, this card is all about sort of like a game, a battle, right? But it's immature. It's just trying to get, you know, who's going to get one over on the other, who's going to, you know, win this little contest. It's all about winning, you know, and it's kind of exhausting energy. So that's all at the bottom of this. So there's a lot of competition here between the two of you. All right, how do you come in, Libra? So Page of Pentacles energy and Ten of Pentacles. There's a lot of Pentacles here, so there's a lot of money issues. But for you, Libra, you come in, you know, just like busy with your little tasks, right? Page of Pentacles energy is quite, it's young, it's fresh. You're kind of just active right now. And your person is resonating up quite highly. So you have a page, you're starting out and they're at a 10 and they're kind of like, they're just doing very, very well right now. I'm going to begin to pull some clarifiers. I wonder how that's affecting you, because when we come to this energy down here at the bottom of the deck, that competitive energy here, it feels to you, I would say, Libra, as though, you know, you're kind of just puttering along, or you're kind of just, you know, you're going along, you're doing things, but your person is just seems to be just doing really, really well. Flipped over is Seven of Swords again. I'm actually going to put that over here next to this. So yeah, there you have that kind of energy of more competition, more trying to get over. Yeah, this is a very... I'm going to say this is a very competitive, but competitive connection, right? But competitive in the sense that you guys are constantly sort of trying to be better than the next one, right? So right now, you're dealing with that energy because you see that your person is resonating up. What's going on with them? And they're trying to decide. They have a decision on their hands, Libra. It may be a decision to do with you, it feels like, almost, right? Which way, you know, are they going to continue this battle with you? Because what's toxic here immediately, you can see what's toxic here, Libra, is just that it seems as though there isn't any kind of genuine love and like support and love, right? So you guys obviously are interested in each other, you're connected, or else you wouldn't have this toxic connection. But it doesn't come from a place of wanting more or wanting good things for the other person. Like, you do want good things for them, but just not better than what you have, right? There's a jealousy here. Queen of Pentacles energy coming in for you, and for them, more Pentacles. Ace of Cups. So a new love is coming in for them. Listen, this may be somebody that's slipping through your fingers, Libra, because they have a decision. They're doing extremely well right now. And on top of it, they have a new love interest suddenly coming in for them, a strong love interest, right? So they're on top of things financially. I want to say health-wise too. You know, Pentacles energy isn't always just about money. It's about the material world. It's associated with Earth. And this also has to do with your health, your fitness. You know, you may be dealing with somebody, Libra, who really resonated up. They're looking good. They're feeling good. They're making money. A new love has come in. And over here, you're kind of like, oh, shit. Thief of the Night energy in a sense, like you're trying to quickly catch up, but you might be cutting some corners and not legitimately catching up. You know, this energy here, Libra, feels as though you're kind of just treading water, but you want to be the boss. You want to be on boss terms. You want to be at a boss level, but you're not quite there with that Page of Pentacles, right? For instance, this almost feels like an ex to me here, Libra. And it's almost as if, you know, meanwhile, they've really resonated up with that Ten of Pentacles. They're doing well, looking well, feeling well, making money. You're kind of like still where you're at. You're at Page. You're still kind of like, you know, you're working along. You're doing your thing. You know, you have a job and you're doing okay. But it's not like you're making any huge leaps and bounds comparatively to this person. And I'm sure that that's causing some envy and some concern. It's also, what's toxic here is it almost feels as though as long as you guys are battling, you have their attention. This seems to be a self-esteem issue. Queen of Pentacles now comes in for you. And I think that as a result of you realizing these things, you may begin to put a lot more effort in, because she's all about effort. And then also you have Knight of Cups energy. So when you see this other person, you see Knight of Cups, which is interesting because I think that people are going to be coming in for them, right? So Queen of Pentacles is there. So listen, Libra, it's like this. You see this person. This person, I think, is not somebody you're with right now, but you clearly have a connection with them. You two have a connection. And I think it's a case of you're about to see them move on with somebody else. And I think you're trying now to sort of put that effort in that you need to put in. I don't think you put the effort in before. Seven of Swords energy is futile energy as well. So it feels to me like, Libra, maybe before you just, look, you may have been with this person at a time when they weren't doing so great, right? They may not have been like physically doing so great. They may have been out of shape. They may not have been making money. They may not even have been working perhaps. They were just not in a great space. The connection continues because part of that, them not being really at a great place, to a certain degree, it feels like you get a little bit of satisfaction out of that because you can dominate them, right? So now they're resonating up. They're doing a lot better. And it's really like threatening, right? Now that they're doing better for themselves. You know that somebody else is coming in for them. They're a good catch. It's like one of those scenarios, man. It's like one of those toxic scenarios where you're with somebody, you love them, you care for them, but you're toxic. And so the only way you can find to keep them in your head is that you keep them down. You keep them feeling as though they can't do much better, etc. Or maybe they already feel that way and you kind of double down on it, but what have you. But when they resonate up and suddenly take control and do better for themselves, make money, look good, get their fitness, get their health together, then there's a serious threat there, right? And you're kind of left out in the cold. I think you're going to be facing being left out in the cold. When they see you, they see Queen of Cups energy, which is, they have a deep feeling here for you, I think. I think they have deep emotions for you. This is a strong connection because this connection has really tolerated. I think you've been back and forth with this person for a long time, Libra. And there is genuine affection here from their end toward you. However, because they're doing so much better right now, they're ready to kind of move on. And this is the decision that they're trying to make. Am I really ready to move on from this person? From my Libra? Am I really ready, because clearly there's been toxicity here, a lot of arguing, a lot of back and forth. Like I said, that Five of Swords is not really great energy. It's not supportive energy. It becomes very exhausting to be in love with somebody or to be connected with somebody who just constantly fights. Five of Wands flew out. Just constantly fights with you, That's some heavy energy. And eventually people, it's like, listen, for you, Libra, this may be the only way right? But for your person, they know another way and they're ready to move on it. Let's get some more clarity here. Three of Cups and Knight of Cups coming out. Yeah, they're definitely moving on. Okay? Libra. Your person has a Knight coming in for them. They have a new love connection coming in. They have somebody strong coming in and they're ready to move on it. You know what I'm saying? Look, listen, they're ready to take a leap of faith with this new person coming in for them. And I would say that you're going to be left out in the cold. You're going to be very much left out in the cold. Friends are there. I think, again, as I say, I don't think you two are necessarily connected right now. You have Three of Cups here. So friends are coming in. I think, listen, Libra, you may be finding out what's going on through gossip, through friends, through people who are coming in and letting you know, You're socializing, and yet at the same time, you're realizing you're being left out in the cold with the situation. You also have a money issue. Forward-looking energy for you, there's going to be concerns about money and support, right? Because again, you're not resonating up. You're not doing so well financially as you would like. You may be working and all of that, but it's kind of like paycheck to paycheck deal, or it's not like it's increasing very quickly. It's like it's very much paycheck to paycheck, and there's a concern there ultimately. In the meantime, listen, your person is resonating up very well here with somebody else that's sad. I know it's gonna be difficult and painful for you, but the toxicity here is how you've approached this relationship. This fighting, this bickering, this competitiveness, 6 of Cups there, and the Queen of Cups coming out again. You may have a chance on getting them back, right? You may, because there is a strong, long connection here, Libra. You and this person have been around this block a few times. And, Eight of Swords and Queen of Cups comes out for them. As I say, they have deep affection and feeling for you. But I think at the same time, they're also realizing how toxic it is being with you. 8 of Swords is very this energy is an energy of someone you can't communicate with them. They're just impossible to communicate. They only see things their own way. Everything about dealing with them is self-sabotage. It's like they act a certain way so you don't want to be with them. It's like they bring it on themselves, and this energy here, and this, I'm talking about you here, Libra, because this is how this person is feeling towards you. Now, these readings could be vice versa, right, Libra? These readings always can be vice versa. You may be on this side of it, and your person is the one who is really kind of pushing you to this point. But it does feel like here that they just don't feel like they have any other choice. It's a difficult choice. They're going to make a choice, but they feel very much like they don't have another choice in actually being with you, simply because of this constant jealousy, possessiveness, this constant competition that is here from you. It's just something they're not willing to deal with anymore, even though they have strong, deep emotions for you, right? 6 of Cups is there in the sense that, yeah, I think you will try to reignite this. I don't know that it's going to work. Let's go ahead and pull some of these cards out. Yeah, Libra, unfortunately, there's been a lot of toxicity in this connection here. And a lot of it has to do with jealousy and envy and just a competitiveness, a feeling, I believe there was probably a lot of harsh words here, just not support, just not any kind of support followed up, it's like a lot of bickering, arguing, competitiveness, not being happy for the other person when they're doing well, that kind of thing, and then never anything sort of loving or nurturing coming through to fix that. So your person is well and truly ready to kind of be done with it. I think they're very tired of it. Tears, the cat, and dismemberment. Wow. Well, tears. Yeah, there's tears here, and I think those kind of sloppy tears of how did I let it get so bad? How did I let this get so messed up? And unfortunately, sometimes you only realize how much you messed up a relationship when you lose it. When what you assume was always going to be there just isn't there anymore. I'm going to move these cards, get room for some other cards, because we're going to pull some more oracles here real quick. And it's sad, but it's like that's, sometimes that's the only way that you learn a lesson, because you get away with certain behavior with people. You get away with treating them a certain way. The cat. Slick. Okay, take it as it is. These cards are quite dark oracle cards, and so they're very personal. Dismemberment, piece by piece. You may be feeling that. You may be feeling like you're just, because for the first time, I think ever, maybe even in this connection, you are truly threatened by somebody else who may come in and take this. They may choose somebody else over you, and Unfortunately, the toxicity here is that you have nobody else to blame but yourself because of the way that you've treated this relationship and this person. You just haven't put the right effort in at all. And whatever effort you're putting in now is very much too little, too late. I just don't think this love connection is real. And that's because there was an opening there. You know, they made an opening in they closed a part of their heart. Not all of it. Not all of their heart. They still have love for you. But they did close a part of their heart off to you, which made room for somebody else to get in there. That's how it goes. Yeah, childish. Yes, the behavior. Pitiful. And insecure. Yes, Libra, there's been a lot of childish behavior here. You know, childish tit for tat, back and forth, you know, not being mature, not supporting this person and really truly giving them that love, that attention, that time, putting that effort in. Pitiful. That comes to mind because I feel like that's the feeling that's coming in, especially once this love connection, you know, it's the worst. Insecure. A lot of insecurities because the thing is, as I say, this is an age old thing. When you don't treat somebody correctly, right? When you play games with them and, you know, you get away with it because they care for you and they love you and they keep taking you back. But eventually that wears thin. And when they don't one day take you back and somebody else slips in, that's the worst. That's the worst because that regret, you had so many chances to fix it, so many chances to do the right thing. And so now it's well and truly the chances have run out. And yes, there's always a chance, right? This isn't definite. This isn't, you know, written in stone. These are just energies we're tapping into right now. But the ball has been put in motion a long time before this. And you're going to have to just watch how this plays out. Because unfortunately, you know, the deposit that you made into this relationship was weak. And so now your returns on it will be equally as weak. And you may have to deal with some of these issues and do some shadow work. And some self-reflection and maybe, you know, work on some of these toxic issues that were brought to the relationship to possibly get this person back. But in the meantime, you know, for you, if you care about them, sadly, you're going to have to watch them walk away with somebody else and be in a love connection and see how this love connection plays out. Maybe it doesn't last or maybe it does. And that's the lesson here. You may or you may not get a second chance with this person. All right, Taurus, let's get into your toxic love outlook. Straight in with an 8 of Wands, confusion, Empress energy, the World, and the 4 of Wands. Wow, okay. And your person is coming in with the 2 of Swords, 10 of Pentacles, 10 of Wands, and the Strength card. Leo energy. Some of you are definitely dealing with a Leo. Bottom of the deck, we have King of Pentacles energy. So on top of your game, again, you know, Pentacles is your energy, Taurus. You know, you're an earth sign and Pentacles are all about earth. And you're just like, listen, like I've been saying in the Taurus readings lately, for my collective, Taurus has been on fire. Okay, like you listen, King energy, you've been on fire in so many ways. You've been on fire with your health, you've been on fire with your money, you've been on fire with, you know, just luxuriating, all of that. So you're coming in, let's get into it. 8 of Wands energy, very confusing right now. A lot is coming at you. You have a lot of energy coming at you, a lot of people coming at you, information coming in. You know what I'm saying? People are wanting to give you news. Suitors, Taurus, you know, suitors are coming in. Your season is coming up soon in May, and it feels to me like you have a lot of people coming at you now. In connection with this, we're going to start to pull clarifiers. In addition to others coming into you, Taurus, this connection, this toxic connection you have with somebody is very sort of back and forth, right? There's a lot of confusing energy that's associated with it. Your person is coming in with a 2 of Swords this week. So they're feeling very, they're in two minds, right? They're trying to make a decision. You're dealing with somebody who's being very, very cagey about letting you know yes or no, right? And I think that that's what's adding to some of this chaotic energy, right? This confusing energy for you because somebody, somebody specifically, the person in this connection is really not giving, they're not letting you know whether, let's see what it is. They're not letting you know whether or not they are with somebody, want to be with you, what's going on. Okay. They're trying to make a decision about their connection, who they want to be with. And I'm going to say, they're not telling you. 9 of Swords. And you're having some sleepless nights over it. Right? You're having a lot of anxiety over it. I think you really care for this person, but they're not coming forward to you. I feel almost, let's go further. Magician. You're resonating up right now. Magician energy is there. You see them as an empress. Okay, so Star. Listen, you're for you, Taurus, in your life, you're resonating up. You're doing really, really well. Specifically to do with this connection, though, not so well, right? Very chaotic, very confused. I think it's causing you a lot of sadness because, there's feelings here for this person. As I look ahead to the 4 of Wands, you are connected to this person. There's a strong connection here, but you're not getting what you desire from it. Right now when you see them being quite comfortable where they're at. They seem to be pretty settled in where they're at. And this choice here may be a choice of whether or not they want to let you know if they want to be with you or move forward with you. Wherever they are right now, I think you see them as being just really comfortable and unwilling to give you any information. This may be a long distance relationship, Taurus, okay? This may be a long distance relationship, and right now you're not getting anything from them. You know that they're doing well. You know that they're happy. They seem to be comfortable and happy, but you're not sure. And I think for some of you, you may be unsure as to whether or not they're even maybe cheating with you or being monogamous. This feels like a connection that's, where both of you are kind of agreeing to be with each other, despite the fact there may be a long distance here. Now, for you, those of you who aren't in a long distance, it just feels as though your person is pulled away a little bit. Yeah, they're happy with you, right? They're connected. They're happy. They seem to be happy, and yet there's information they're not giving you. As far as they're concerned, they see you doing really, really well. 10 of Pentacles. And again, King of Pentacles is there. As I say, Taurus, you in and of yourself, aside from any connections, whether they're toxic or full love, a good, healthy love connection, regardless of your connections in love, let me put it like that, you personally are doing excellent. You're doing really well in terms of your confidence, your money, what you're bringing to the table. So there's no lack of confidence there, but it's specifically in connection with love and specifically in connection with this here. Now, they see you doing really well. But, yeah, here we go. There seemed to still be some chaos in their life when it comes to finances. And this may be one of the things they're not willing to come to you about or talk to you about. So there seems to be just a toxicity in communication, Taurus, right? Your person may be keeping issues about money away from you, which is one of the reasons why they're not being very determined or sort of, I don't know, they're being vague. And I know I sound vague right now because that's the energy I'm feeling from them. They're just being very vague with you and they're not being forthright, and yet they are juggling a lot. I don't think they're telling you. 10 of Wands, 10 of Wands. You're both letting go. A lot of burdens that you've been carrying, responsibilities that you've been carrying, hang-ups that you've been carrying. As in regards to this relationship, though, there's a lot of pressure, I feel like, for this person. They're holding on to a lot. They're holding on to a lot of, I don't know, a lot of hang-ups, a lot of issues with this connection, and they're not willing to talk to you about it. I think they feel quite weighed down with certain responsibilities, and there are, as I say, I think those responsibilities have something to do with finances or perhaps taking care of their own responsibilities, perhaps like Maybe they have children from a previous relationship, or they have, you know what I mean? They have certain burdens on them, or I don't want to call those burdens, but certain really strong responsibilities that they have to deal with. And their money is funny. And yeah, not pretending, they're acting as though they're happy, and they may indeed be happy with you, but there's a lot going on here that they're just not telling you about. And for you, you're kind of resonating up, Taurus. You're kind of moving on. You do see this connection and this relationship as something that's destined and fated and meant to be. But I almost feel as though your life is moving quite quickly in a positive direction. It's increasing and progressing quite quickly. Financially and certain other things are really progressing for you and doing very well. I'm not sure that this person feels comfortable that they can come with you. You've let go of a lot of issues and burdens and responsibilities. You've become quite free. You've let go of some hang-ups, some self-esteem issues. They're still holding on to those issues when it comes to this relationship. And that's where the toxicity and communication comes from. Wheel of Fortune and Nine of Pentacles. It could turn around, Taurus. Now, Wheel of Fortune happens, and you have that Four of Wands. So, listen, this feels like this relationship has just been very difficult and toxic for a while. It may be very much to do with wanting this person, Taurus, to get their act together. You know what I'm saying? They desire this. Star is there. They really they desire. They have a vision for a relationship that's good and healthy and strong, where, they're strong in that relationship. I don't feel that, they feel that way about themselves right now. I think that they're just dealing with a lot of financial pressures and a lot of insecurities. They have a lot of insecurities about this relationship. They certainly feel a little bit, I want to say, again, insecure, maybe threatened, but more insecure about the fact that they see how well you're doing. And I'm not sure that they're ready to bring something to the table. Nevertheless, you do have really positive energy here in this toxic reading. They don't always all have to turn out bad or whatever, but Wheel of Fortune and Nine of Pentacles. So it seems to show that this person is willing to let go of some of these hang-ups that they've been carrying about themselves and their relationship with you, and really begin to work on, here's Fool flipped over as I was shuffling, really begin to work on themselves. They may spend some more time working on themselves, or they may put much more effort into working on themselves. It's going to require a lot of strength, but they're willing to try something new. It almost feels as though they're just maturing. It's just a time issue. Wheel of Fortune comes in for you. And again, there is almost like a fortuitous moment, or there are certain events that come in that kind of help this connection, that are lucky events, helpful events, purely designed, or from the universe rather, opportunities thrown your way, I would say, to give this connection a good go and to deal with some of the toxicity that I was here. It feels like a lot of these issues were in the past and carried over, but it's been some time now. And it does indicate that your person is kind of, yes, right now they're still trying to decide what to say, what to do, how much information to give you. But they've also, in the same time, for themselves, I believe, have decided to put a lot more effort and work into just fixing what they need to fix for the sake of this relationship. The Mermaid, the Feeding, and the Mad Woman. All right. This Oracle deck. 38, the Mermaid. At the Magic, at some point, it's wounded. It needs to heal, right? You see her bleeding and drowning. So the Feeding, okay? There may be, I associate this Oracle card with a feeling of anguish in love, and somebody who just feeds on your heart. Does feel like this here, Taurus, because again, this person is not giving you any information. And so for you, it feels quite cruel. You're like, well, you're playing with my heart. You're eating my heart alive by not telling me what's going on, by not letting me know, right? Mad Woman, okay? A feeling of really just being frustrated. All right, let's get your twin flame journey shadow cards out to see. So yeah, there is a strong connection here, Taurus, but you're dealing with somebody who has severe communication issues. They just are unwilling right now to tell you what's going on. And I think to a certain degree, they don't know themselves. They're still kind of trying to decide what to do here. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And I do think that part of it here is them very much working on themselves, taking a whole new sort of look at their lives, just looking at their lives very, very differently and being willing to do something different. But this is all very close to the heart for them, and they're just not willing to let you in on any of this. Power, one-sided, and pain. Yeah. Power. Okay. Power. Take that as you know, take it for what it is. I'm going to put that over there. Yeah, it almost feels like they have a certain amount of power over you because right now they're being so cagey and so one-sided. And pain. There's pain here. You know, there's pain here. Because you're doubting. I think you doubt this connection. You doubt the love. You doubt whether or not this is ever going to turn into anything because your person is just... They're just not letting you know. They're not letting you know if they're willing to work on this, not willing to work on this. But secretly, in their own mind, they're kind of working through a lot of things. I would say that to you, Taurus. It isn't so much that they're not thinking about it or they don't want to tell you, but they themselves are quite confused about how they want to move forward with you. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they themselves are also dealing with a lot of money issues with their own stability and sort of trying to get on their own 2 feet in a real concrete way. And they may have to do some new things, start some new jobs, or just a new, have a very different outlook on life to begin to get their shit together. And unfortunately, none of this is something that they're willing to tell you about just now. So your communication with them is very chaotic and confusing. You have a lot of sleepless nights and anxiety, and you're just not sure how this is going to move forward. Ultimately, it'll be down to you to decide if you want to wait for them to make up their mind and tell you what's happening with them, or if you just want to go ahead and protect yourself and your heart and let it go for a while until they're ready to come into you properly. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. Taurus, this is your toxic love reading for this week. And previously today, we did Libra and we did Scorpio. So go back and check those out. If those energies are in your chart, maybe you're dealing with one of those zodiac signs in your love life, what have you. Please remember, none of these readings are going to resonate with all of you, and just take what you can from it and leave the rest there on the table. And that's it. I wish all of you and all cross watchers life, love, and happiness, and I hope to see you next week at the Toxic Love Readings. Bye-bye now.